first off, I would love for you to just talk a little bit about your company, Simple, and what your role is.
Sure. So I'm Josh. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a company called Simple. Simple is a replacement for your bank account. We give customers a simple Visa card. They get access to a big, large ATM network. And what we want to do is empower them with tools to help them to save and spend smarter.
Cool. All right. So you are coming into a highly regulated market.
Yes.
Doing something new.
Yes.
And so I'm wondering, in general, why do you feel like doing that, being disruptive and coming in that way is an important thing for entrepreneurs to do and to consider and think about?
Because entrepreneurship is about changing the world. And the nature of regulated industries is such that it's really difficult for the natural forces that lead to competition and change to occur. When it's really expensive or time consuming to enter a market, the natural market forces generally don't exist. So you have in America lots of large banks that haven't really changed their business model significantly in a long time. And we think that's important because everyone interacts with their bank. Everyone has a bank or a financial relationship, and it hasn't been getting any better, and we want to make it better.
You know, I want to ask more about that. It seems to me, because I've also had some negative banking experiences in my past, and why do you think they haven't changed? It's almost like they have this monopoly on bad customer service that just no one is doing it right, so they don't have to change. Why do you think that is?
You almost hit the nail on the head when you said monopoly. While we don't have a monopoly situation, there's a small number of banks who control most of the market. And so if you're going to leave Bank A, are you going to get better service than Bank B? And for a bunch of regulatory reasons also, there's not a lot of pressure to grow. In banking in particular, there's sort of limits to market size. They don't want anyone to have monopoly power. And the top, 4 banks are already sort of at their top size. They don't have any huge incentive to grow by competition. Yeah.
So when you first started this idea, what was your biggest challenge at first?
Learning about space. I only come from banking, so for me it was completely new. I just was a customer who was frustrated, and I had some experience in finance, so I understand sort of conceptually how banks work, but I didn't know really where the rubber hit the road. So I had to come up to speed on regulation, lawyers, knowing how things work in Washington. I learned more about how the US political system works in the last few years than I ever really thought I needed to know. So getting up to speed with banking was a huge challenge for me. Yeah.
Okay, and so you are not originally from the United States.
This is
so
correct.
How long have you been here, and how has it been adjusting culturally in a different,
Well, the water goes the wrong way down there. That's not actually true though. So I've been here for about 9 years. I came from Australia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And culturally, I came here because I wanted to know technology and innovation.
Sure.
My background's in technology, and sort of to see all the cool stuff that happens in startups, like in startup centers like here in Austin, San Francisco, Boston. It's fantastic, but so little of that innovation has gone towards finance. So being sort of finance guy in technology, it was good too.
Cool.
Yeah.
So now that you feel you're more up to speed on the world of finance, what do you see as the biggest challenge at this point in time for your company?
Right now, it's all about growing the business. So we've had over 200,000 people who said they want to get a Simple account. We've been able to onboard about 25,000, 30,000 of those people so far. And now it's really just about working through that list and getting them to run their Simple cards.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So if someone's interested, how would they go about signing up?
You can go to simple.com and you can request an invite. There's a short waiting list right now, but the waiting list is getting shorter and shorter.
Okay, great. So I also want to hear, what's the most fun part for you about being an entrepreneur, about being in this new space? What do you like the most about it?
Someone asked me the other day what innovation was, and my answer to that is actually something I really believe, which is innovation is not being afraid to break stuff. And so having like a full-time job where you get to break stuff is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And probably the most fun part is speaking to customers. Hearing the impact that we've had on people's lives is really rewarding. It took a very long time to build this business, and there were a lot of hurdles that we had to surmount to get to launch. But now that customers are using the product, enjoying the product, and changing their relationship with money, which is a really personal thing, and a really emotional thing, and they're changing it for the better, that's really great to see. Yeah.
So as CEO, do you get a lot of interaction with customers?
Yeah. I sit, my desk is in the middle of the customer relations team. So
Okay.
I love chatting with customers, and if we're busy or if I just have some time to spare, I'll jump in and take calls and answer chat messages, and it's a lot of fun.
So I assume that's very intentional. Do you feel like across the board in startups that it's important that the CEOs and the people who are at that upper level are still involved with the customers and can
I
keep a pulse?
don't think it's limited at all to startups. I think that's the only way you can really succeed in today's market with the pace of innovation in information technology. If you don't pay attention to what your customers want, and you can't sort of keep up with them or be a little bit ahead of them at times, you're going to get taken over by someone who's faster and more responsive. And so while we have a really phenomenal product in market today, we know that we can't just say, okay, we're done and let the product stagnate. We launch new features multiple times a day and push things out to the website, update the mobile app very frequently, because we're always listening to customers and getting that feedback and hearing customers say, hey, I want to be able to do this, and we'll have lunch, and then like 3 hours later, someone will be working on it. And then a week later, it'll be in the customer's hands, which is really cool. Yeah.
Okay, so the last thing, I would love to hear what advice you have for, how about particularly college students? So I'm a graduate student, so college students who are interested in innovating and in entrepreneurship and don't know quite how to get started. What advice do you have for them that's kind of broad in general?
So look, the way I did it is I spent most of my career before starting Simple working at startups. So out of college, I was working at a medium-sized startup, like a few years old at that point. But beyond that, I spent the first employee at a couple of startups beforehand, and getting that experience of sort of sitting in the passenger seat while a company goes from 3 people to 30 people, that's a really informative experience. There's a lot of great things you learn at school, but you learn a hell of a lot more when you're sitting there from like day 1 or day 2 and seeing where things go, because it's a very different style of operating compared to sort of graduating from college and going to work at a law firm or a bank or a PR firm or something like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's all I have for you, so thanks so much for your time.